Allegiance abilities. What does this include?
Okay, so first, we're just going to go down the list. We have the subfactions, which we'll be covering in a minute. You have to pick one of your subfactions, being Invaders, Pretenders, or Godseekers. Then we have the Temptation dice mechanic, which is probably my favorite part in the whole book.
Well, what is it?
So at the beginning of each round, the Slaanesh player gets 6 dice. They can offer these dice to the opponent whenever they fail a hit, wound, or save roll.
Yes. Once per unit per phase, or just once per phase?
Once per unit per phase.
Okay.
They go away at the end of the round, and they reset back to 6 at the beginning of the next round. If your opponent takes it and uses the dice that is a 6...
If they fall to temptation.
They get a 6, but you get d6 depravity points, which we will cover why that's important momentarily. If they decline, the dice is still used up, so you still only get 6 offers, but they take d3 mortal wounds instead. So if this is interesting to me in particular because you can use it very tactically and controlly, where you can offer it to a big hitter if you really need the depravity points and they're probably going to take it, or you can offer it to like a little chaff unit that sure, if they get one more hit, who cares? Then you get depravity points. Or if they decline, they take d3 mortal wounds. It's just a win-win. I play Magic, and usually things that give your opponent a choice are kind of bad because it's your opponent's best interest on the choice that they make. But the fact that you can offer it whenever you want is a really cool design decision, I think.
I like it from a design perspective.
Yes.
From a gameplay perspective, first off, it's going to slow things down.
That's true.
Like this, 36 interruptions a game.
Or the like, I missed one, and the Slaanesh player goes, do I want to offer you a dice?
Yeah, 36 interruptions a game.
Yep.
Or 35 interruptions, or 30 interruptions a game, because it's 5 rounds, 6 dice. Yeah. 30 interruptions a game. And from a very basic perspective, if your opponent plays optimally, you always get the worst end of the stick.
Yeah, you're right. But I feel like both of them are good enough that it's still something that is definitely useful.
I mean, if you say I get to throw out 63 mortals a turn.
If they just decline every one,
that
it's
sounds
63
amazing.
mortals.
Or if I get to generate 66 depravity points a turn, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it thematically. Yeah. I don't know if I love it in practice.
That's fair. And we will have to see. I haven't actually played with it yet. The next thing on the list is the same thing all of the Chaos Legions are getting, which is the what are they called? When you can take whatever.
Demons?
No, it's when you can take the Slaves to Darkness stuff.
Oh.
I don't remember what it's called. Coalition units.
Coalition.
If I looked a little bit down from the page, it's right there. Coalition units. 2 in every 4 can be from Slaves of Darkness with a Mark of Chaos keyword. Must be given Slaanesh. 1 in every 4 can be a coalition unit of the Beasts of Chaos faction. Cannot have Tzeentch or Slaanesh keyword. The units gain the Slaanesh keyword. So it can't be Slaanesh specific.
You can't have Slangors because they're already in your army.
Yeah, which is what they did with the Tzeentch ones too. Then we have another way to gain depravity, which is the Euphoric Killers. At the beginning of once per turn, at the beginning of your combat phase, you pick a friendly unit and an enemy unit within 1 inch of that unit. If you do so until the end of that phase, you gain 1 depravity point for each wound and mortal wound caused by attacks made by that friendly unit to that enemy unit. So basically, the amount of damage that you deal, you get that many depravity points.
You pop that before you're about to deal a load of damage to get a bunch of depravity points.
Yep.
You're kind of doing a gamble because you are like, okay, I'm going to hit this unit really hard. And of course, your dice could whiff.
And it's 1 unit on 1 unit, so you can't like gang up on a single unit.
Right.
But if you put, I don't know, a Keeper of Secrets into a 40-man unit of zombies, give me all them.
Ding, 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 ding.
And once again, the reason the depravity points are useful are the 2 following abilities. I'm trying to be very professional here. Revel in Depravity is a stacking buff, depending on how many depravity points you have. Once you have 12 or more, you subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units. Always good. Once you get 24 plus, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a melee weapon, melee specifically, by a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit is a 6, the attack causes more than 1 mortal wound in addition to normal damage.
So Mortals on hit. For melee.
For melee. And then once you hit 36, friendly Hedonite of Slaanesh units have a ward of 5+, which is very good.
Yeah. And if you got super, super lucky, you could get this on turn 1, right?
Yes. You just offer...
Or if you throw a Keeper of Slaanesh into a group of 40 zombies.
Yeah.
Having a permanent 5-up ward is real good.
Yeah. Permanent 5-up ward, permanent -1 to be hit. That's fantastic.
So on the one hand, you want to farm and keep depravity.
Yeah.
It used to kind of be that you just wanted to get it and spend it.
Yep.
But you still might want to spend it because...
Because you can still summon demons. As much as we were saying that...
As much as we were advising that this was a terrible idea and you need to drop summoning, you still can summon demons.
Because we'll see if this is broken or crap or what. But maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Who knows? You can summon demons. It has the same restriction as last time. Wholly within 12 inches of a friendly Hedonite Slaanesh hero. And more than 9 inches from enemy units. That's all normal. And you can summon anything. I'm just going to list them off without the points. Keeper of Secrets. A 3-model unit of Fiends, Bladebringer, which is the Chariot hero, Contorted Epitome.
Epitome.
I always say epitome. It just sounds cool. 5-man unit of Seekers, 1 Slaanesh Chariot, 1 Infernal Enraptress, 1 Vice Leader, which is the Foot Herald, and then 1 unit of Demonettes with 10 models.
No more summoning 20 Demonettes. Or 30.
You used to. So you used to be able to summon 30 Demonettes or a Keeper of Secrets at the same points level, and people always just picked 30 Demonettes, because 30 bodies is not nothing.
Nope. But now, far more choice. That being said, you're probably still very often going to pick either Demonettes for chaff and cheap chaff, or Keeper Secrets.
Yeah. There's some, like, small cases in there I could see for doing other stuff. The Epitome is a really good caster for less depravity points. Because it's, you take your depravity points off of what you have. It's not like all or nothing.
Right.
So if you're at 50 and if you use all of them to summon your Keeper of Secrets, you'll lose some of your Revel in depravity. You can do lesser stuff to try and like edge your win out. So we'll see how that actually plays out. But summoning's always a weird one.
Yeah, and it's always it's a tire fire of summoning. Yeah. So those are the abilities that all Slaanesh...
All Hedonites get.
Yes. Everybody gets that.
Everybody.
But then you must pick a subfaction.
Yes.
And there are 3?
There are 3.
Which is half of 6. I don't think they did that on purpose. I think
probably not. Probably not.
Boss, I can't come up with 4, 5, and 6. Just do 3. We got a point tomorrow. Just do 3.
So the first one is the Invaders.
Which is a great Iron Maiden song. It's actually not a great Iron Maiden song. It is an Iron Maiden song. It's not great. Anyway.
So the battle traits are all friendly Invaders heroes are treated as generals, even if they are not the model picked to be your generals.
This is your general spam.
Yep. Everybody's a general, which basically all that really means is, well, it means 2 things. One, the heroic action to, like, is your general on the board? Basically, if you have a hero, you get it. And second, your commands issue out to 18 inches, I think. So that's just both positive things. I like that. I guess there could be like a kill your opponent's general, and then I don't know how that exactly would work.
There are downsides. I forget exactly.
Yeah.
They have a fake. They fact it. I forget how.
Okay. And then in addition, when you pick a Invaders hero to carry out a heroic action on a 2+, you pick another heroic Invaders hero. It's gonna just cut to me. On the battlefield to carry out the same heroic action.
So this is your chance to have more than one person have best day ever, aka finest hour.
Yep.
This is your chance to have more than one person heal. This is your chance to have more than one person try and get that command point.
Yep.
Remember that command point is on a 4-up if your general is still alive, a 2-up if he's dead.
Yeah.
So this actually makes it harder.
Oh, that's true.
Because your general is always going to be alive.
Yeah.
But if you can try with 2 different people.
Well, isn't it you get an extra command point if your general is alive, just in period, and then you can do the heroic action to try and get one, and it's easier if your general's dead.
Yes.
Okay. So it's still kind of an upside because you get the one either way.
Because you have more generals. Yeah.
And the other thing that they get is this is a heroic action that they can carry out. If you do so, pick an eligible command trait, which we will go over in a second. listed below that an invader's hero does not already have, that hero is considered to have that command trait until the end of the turn.
Very similar to the Skaven Clawlord.
Yes.
From
so
Skaven.
It actually kind of makes you want to not take any of these and to just pass them out as they're useful. So you want to take like a core rulebook one.
Yeah.
Because these are all like decent. They're just not always going to be useful.
So what are they?
First, the best of the best. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of this general's melee weapons while they are within 6 inches of a different hero.
All right.
That could be friendly or enemy.
Go punch an enemy hero.
Yeah.
Get more attacks.
There's already some in here like, I guess, I don't think you can give it to a named character.
No.
With
you still can't give enhancements to named characters.
Yeah. So there are some that are like hero hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that being partially useful on them. +1 attack's always good.
Yeah.
Or again, if you have 2 heroes that are next to each other and they're both friendly, you can still get the +1 attack on them.
More attacks is always better.
Yes. Second is Glory Hog at the end of the combat phase. If any units were destroyed in that phase, this general is on the battlefield, you receive 1 command point. At the end of the combat phase, if any units were destroyed in that phase. Okay. So kill something in the combat phase. It doesn't say your combat phase, which is interesting. Till the end of the turn. So that one you might actually want to take normally because it would proc on your opponent's turn as well. But escalating havoc only lasts until the end of the turn.
Right.
So you might want to take that and swap between the other 2 if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I could see that.
The last one is Hurler of Obscenities. At the start of the combat phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 6 inches of the general. Until the end of that phase, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by that unit and subtract 1 from save rolls for attacks that target that unit.
+1 to hit rolls is okay. -1 save is great.
Yeah.
Especially for this army because in general, this army does not have a lot of rend.
Yeah.
You see a lot of 0s, a lot of 1 rends, not much 2 or anything higher. There's like a couple things on like Keeper that has 2 up.
Yeah, there's 1 attack on the Keeper, and I think the only one that I can recall is that Shalaxi has a rend of 3 on 1 of her weapons, and that's the only rend of 3 I could think of.
So not a lot of high rend. So you really are going to want ways to reduce enemy saves. Yeah. And there's more than 1 in this book.
Yeah.
Which I find an interesting play space.
Yeah. Again, kind of leading into the control of it.
Take your armor off; it'll look hot. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I'm assuming.
Like Sigvald that should be one of his abilities. He could talk you out of your shirt. Don't lie to me.
No, it is.
And then we move on to the artifacts of power. In all of these subfactions, there are 3 command traits, 3 artifacts of power, and 3 spell lores. Each subfaction has a different spell lore.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's important because there's not a Slaanesh spell lore.
Right.
There's the 3 subfaction lores.
Right.
So interesting because it very much changes what you're doing spell wise.
Yeah, it can determine your subfaction you want to pick. Was it in your way?
Yeah.
Okay. The Rod of Misrule.
Continue.
Keep track of the number of unmodified hit rolls of 6 and unmodified wound rolls of a 6 for attacks made by the bearer each turn. At the end of the battle shock phase, if the total is 6 or more and the bearer is on the battlefield, you gain 1 depravity point. That sounds really bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, a free depravity point, like on a combat hero, I guess. You put it on a Keeper Secret, that's okay.
Yeah, but like, we talked about this on the Adepticon trip. It's just like completely random chance if you get it.
Yeah.
If you're at 5 and you just don't roll another 6, you just get nothing.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I don't like that one. Icon, although the name is great.
Yes.
The icon of infinite excess. Once per battle at the start of the combat phase, you can say the bearer will plant the icon of infinite excess. If you do so, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of weapon used by friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units on the battlefield until the end of that phase.
On the battlefield.
Yep.
Not within 12 inches, not within 18 inches.
Not
within 6 inches, not one friendly unit. Just all of them, all the time, on the battlefield. Guess, please.
It's once per game.
You only need once.
But like you get 3 or 4 units and just give them all +1 attack.
Yeah.
Wreck. That one's fantastic. In large dichotomy to the previous one, that one's amazing.
And you combine that with the euphoric killers.
Yeah, euphoric killers to get more depravity points. summon more guys.
I could see that doing that early to get more depravity, to like bank your depravity early.
It's kind of I could see it as like a snowball effect.
Like throwing your something somewhat good into a chaff unit that you can get a lot of wounds on. Zombies being probably the perfect example,
but yeah, that one's fantastic. I love that one. That one's the one that made me go like, invaders seem really cool. That and the doing an extra heroic thing. The last artifact is at the start of the combat phase, pick one enemy hero within 3 inches of the bear and roll 3d6. If the roll is greater than that hero's bravery characteristic, subtract 1 from their attacks of that hero's melee weapons to a minimum of 1 until the end of that phase. That one I could see as being good as a second artifact. It only affects heroes, so it's, again, decent on a hero hunter, which kind of makes sense subfaction-wise. Because +1 attack is one of the best buffs that you can get in the whole game. -1 attack is one of the best debuffs that you can give in the whole game.
yeah, messing with attacks is amazing.
Yeah, especially on something with multiple attacks.
Yeah,
multiple
going
profiles.
From 2 to 1 sucks.
Yeah, well, no, I'm thinking going from like they have 3 profiles and they're all like 5, 2, 1, and then they're like, how about -1 all those?
Draconis Knights hate this one weird trick.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that one's really good, but not near as like universally good as the icon.
Yeah, I see that.
Onto the spell lores. Lash of Slaanesh is casting value of 6, range of 12. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in that unit. For each 5 up, subtract 1 from the attack characteristic of that unit's melee weapons to a minimum of 1 until your next hero phase. So it's also -1. It doesn't have to pick a hero.
Right.
And it's for each 5 up, -1 from their attacks.
I mean, so that's really good on a large... The problem is that the larger a unit is, so the more dice you get to hunt for those 5s, the fewer attacks they're generally going to have.
Yeah, that was my thought.
I mean, there are things you can give stupid amounts of attacks that are in large units. Plague monks. But in general, things with lots of attacks are in units of 3s, maybe 5s.
Yeah, so it kind of like balances itself.
Which means I don't really care.
Yeah, it's like if you're a really, really strong unit, then -1 attack is a big deal.
It hurts more.
Yeah. But if you're a lot of models and you have 2 attacks, then you're probably just going to get -1 attack.
That being said, there are a fair few things in Ageofsigmar that are based around the idea of stacking multiple attack buffs on otherwise chaff units.
Yep.
Soulblight Gravelords has a fair few of that. In Graveguard, for example. Cities of Sigmar, for as long as it's still around, likes doing that with hammerers in Dispossessed. So it's out there. Not good enough to put in every list, in my opinion.
Yeah. It is, I mean, it's one of your 3 spells, and you do have a lot of spellcasters. So.
This is true, yeah. And you don't have to use all your spells.
Yeah. The next one is Pavane of Slaanesh. I think it's Pavane. Also casting value of 6. My notice pattern. Range of 12. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. Roll a number of dice equal to that unit's movement characteristic. For each 5 up, subtract 1 from that unit's movement characteristic to a minimum of 1 inch for the rest of the battle.
So this one also kind of self-stacks because units who are faster, every inch hurts less. Units who are slower have fewer dice to roll, but like if you put that on a 4-inch movement Dwarden, then it's a 3-inch movement Dwarden.
Yeah.
Also, it lasts the entire battle.
Yeah. It does say that the same unit cannot be affected more than once per battle.
Yeah, so you can't stack it on someone. So you only got 1 shot. But
you put it on like something that's speed 10 and you're probably going to get -3 speed. Like I have heard the statement that the movement phase wins games.
Yes. Putting that on a unit of Arcanaut Company, a unit of 10-mana Arcanaut Company, you're probably going to get -3 movement. And now it's a unit of Arcanaut Company with 1-inch movement.
Yeah. So this one I could see being taken in most lists because movement shenanigans are good. That said, it's a range of 12.
Yes, you do have to get close.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you're going to do anyway.
You want to do that anyway, Slaanesh. So I think it's a very good spell. That's probably my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah. We've only read 2 spells, Josh.
Yeah.
Usually every single one we read. That one's my favorite. The last one is Hysterical Frenzy, which had a similar effect last time. Casting value of 7. Ignored my previous statement about there being a pattern.
There was a pattern. You broke it.
And a range of 18. Yeah, I'm sorry. I broke it.
Personally.
If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within range and visible to the caster and roll a number of dice equal to that unit's bravery characteristic. For each 6, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So it's better on high bravery models.
Sucks to play Night Haunt.
Yeah, just every death army just has a 10s.
Other demons.
Yeah, demons.
I still like the movement shenanigans ones better.
Yeah.
So when I said that was my favorite of the bunch, I was not
That's fair.
jumping the gun. I was not going off hack.
But, mortal wounds are always good.
Yeah, and D3 mortals.
Yeah.
On something with bravery 10. Bone reapers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, average bravery is what, 7, 8?
Yeah,
So you'll probably get 1, maybe 2 D3, when 2 D3 is nothing to sniff about. So I do like that one, but yeah, Pavane seems to be more...
Laughs in Skaven.
Exactly. Haha, I have bravery 4. Next is the Pretenders.
May I do this one? Haha, I was pretending. Yeah, no,
now I'm the leader.
Now I am the master. So, Pretenders, heir to the throne. If the model picked to be your general is a Pretender hero, which it
always is,
should be, you receive 3 command points instead of 1 at the start of the hero phase. So this is the command point farming faction.
Yeah. The thing about this one is Slaanesh has been gone, and they are pretending to be Slaanesh. They pick one guy and they worship that one guy.
Look at me, I'm the Slaanesh now.
Whereas the Invaders are like, we're all Slaanesh if you think about it.
Slaanesh is inside all of us.
We're all Slaanesh's children. I like yours better.
And then Warlord Supreme, if the model your general, they can issue the same command up to 3 times in the same phase. Each command must be received by a friendly Pretenders unit, and no command points are spent on the 2nd and 3rd time your general issues that command.
Yeah, so this is pumping out command abilities left and right.
You get more command points, and you get more bang for your buck.
As long as you keep your general alive.
Because
once your general dies, all that goes away.
Which in Slaanesh is not a given.
No.
There's not a lot of generals you're going to want to hide in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get more command points.
It's really good.
Issuing all-out defense to 3 different armies. Issuing all-out attack to 3 different units. Issuing Unleash Hell to 3 different units in the same phase.
Making 3 units auto-pass morale. What's the thing? The reanimator.
Rally.
Rallying 3 units, which is going to be important later.
And there are rally shenanigans. So
it's really, really good.
It's real good. Yeah.
If I had to pick a best one, it might be this one.
Command traits: strongest alone. Add 1 to hit and wound rolls for your general when you're more than 6 inches from all other friendly units.
Yeah.
I think in Slaanesh that's a trap.
Yeah, probably. You either want something ridiculously fast to go off by itself, and it has to be on your general, and you kind of want to keep your general alive, so don't do that.
That does not synergize with the previous ones.
No, it does not.
Monarch of Lies. Roll a dice each time an enemy unit receives a command within 6 inches of this general. On a 5-up, that command is not received, and the command point that was spent to issue that command is lost.
Yeah.
So if you watched our Character on Overlords review, we talked about how much Kevin and I loved Barrack Mornar.
Mm-hmm.
This is a slightly weaker version of Barrack Mornar, because for Barrack Mornar, it's all your units within 12 inches of any enemy ever. This one is just within 6 inches of your general. Still very, very good. Your general, it's unavoidable in Slaanesh. Your general is probably going to be one of somebody you throw into combat.
Yeah.
Might as well steal some command points. And if your general is centrally located, this doesn't just go off once per turn, once per phase.
Oh, that's a good point.
No, it's just if your general is in the middle, like you could just, if you roll hot,
you can affect 3 different units and be like, nope.
If you roll hot, you could eat your opponent's most important command abilities.
That one is very strong.
Some armies are going to have a way to play around that. Some really aren't. Mighty Destroyers hates this trick.
What's that one?
That is the one where the Maw Crusher orc orders everyone in his army to just murder you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And then Strength of Godhood. If this general issues a command to a different friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit until the end of the turn, improve the rend characteristic of this general's melee weapons by 1, and add 1 to the damage characteristic of this general's melee weapon. Again, not bad.
I think that one's really good, and that's being said, they already put out an errata for that.
Yes.
Because it didn't say until the end of the turn.
Yeah, it only lasts to the end of the turn.
Yeah, and also, I believe it changed to once per turn.
Yes, you can't stack it.
Yeah.
It's like the, this is 2 books in a row now, because they did this in KO.
Oh, really?
With the Ethermatic guy. Ether Navigator, where it's like, oh, you can just infinitely stack rend on your Thunderers and have 20 rend. No, you can't do that, and stop pretending.
Yeah.
Artifacts of power. That being said, of the command traits, my favorite is the Monarch of Lies.
Monarch of Lies, I think, is very
Stealing
good.
command points is just...
Yeah. That being said, that's, again, definitely leading into the more control-y, like,
yes,
manipulating kind of thing.
Adding rend is also really good, but it's only on your general.
Yeah. That being said, I like that one the most. I like hitting really hard.
That's fair.
And giving a generic Keeper of Secrets plus 2 rend and 3 rend on their attacks, and then an extra damage on all of them. I like hitting hard. What can I say?
Artifacts of power. These are pretender heroes only, of course. The Crown of Dark Secrets. At the start of your first hero phase, pick one enemy unit on the battlefield. For the rest of the battle, while that unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, the attacks characteristics of that unit's melee weapons is 1.
Is 1.
Now, the downside is you got to be within 6 inches of the bearer, who does not have to be your general.
Right.
It could just be any hero.
So you have to, at the very beginning of the fight, pick a friendly hero. Well, already pick a friendly hero that has this, and then pick an enemy unit or hero?
Enemy unit.
So any unit. And as long as they're about to kiss, then their attacks is only 1.
Well, I will say that 6 inches is not kissing.
That's true. They don't have to be in melee.
Right. You could screen.
Yeah.
You could put an annoying unit of Daemonettes between Kazurai or Karazai, the Scarred, the big dragon, with, my attacks on my tail equals number of enemy models around me.
Oh, you mean 1?
It's 1 now. Not Demigryph Knights, they suck, but
Archaon. I always go for Archaon.
Archaon.
He has too many attacks.
Fulminators.
Yep.
Lots of things that like to hit really hard. In Age of Sigmar, that generally means having lots of attacks. And this just says you have 1 attack.
1.
You do got to keep the guy alive. He's got to be within 6 inches, but you're fast. You have control shenanigans.
Yep. Your movements can be up to 14 inches.
You have the really have the ability to neuter certain units with this.
I agree.
Next up, Scepter of Domination. Yeah, there was a rod, there's a scepter. I'm noticing a theme here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
At the start of the combat phase, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer. On a 5-up, the Strike Last effect applies to that unit until the end of the phase.
Strike Last is good.
Yeah.
It's decent against a combat unit that really wants to hit you first.
But only 1/3 of the time.
Yeah.
I don't love that one.
It's fine.
The fact it only goes off on a 5-up.
Yeah, probably should have been a 4 or something. 4 or 3.
And then Breathtaker. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. The enemy model is slain by an attack made with that weapon. All effects that would be triggered when that model is slain are ignored. It is niche as heck.
Yeah, it's basically fight on death and then what? Stormcast explode?
There's other things, but
I can't think of any.
In general, that's the most niche and therefore the worst.
Yeah.
I don't particularly love either of these. I'd probably go with Crown of Dark Secrets because that is, even if you don't actually use it, it's a control method.
Yeah.
Because it's, don't touch me.
Yeah.
I'm coming toward you. Don't touch me.
I'm running at the guy that I've stared at the beginning of the game. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, well, kill that guy.
Yeah.
But then you're forcing your opponent to kill that guy.
Yeah.
Which is good. Spell lore. I like how it says spell lores when there's only one. Lore the Magnificent. Solstice shards. Merry Christmas, everyone. Soul Slice shards. Say that 5 times fast. A spell that has a casting value of 5 and a range of 12. Pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster and roll 2d6. If the roll is greater than that unit's bravery characteristic, that unit cannot issue or receive commands until your next hero phase. So it's Roar that goes off better on less brave folks within 12 inches.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Casting value of 5.
That is in addition to regular roars, which is nice because there are monsters in here.
Yep. Phantasmagoria, which was a terrible FMV video game from the 1990s.
I remember that game.
It wasn't very good.
No. I begged my dad to play that game, and he's like, only when you beat, like, Resident Evil 3 or whatever it was. I never beat Resident Evil 3. Anyway.
Your dad was wise. Casting value 5, range 12 inches. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible. Until your next hero phase, each time that unit is picked to fight, you can pick one friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit within 3 inches of that unit. That friendly unit can retreat.
That's really strong.
So basically just, if it goes off, that unit doesn't get to fight anybody.
Yeah.
Because you can just retreat.
Yeah. They go like, oh, you're going to, no, I'm just going to back right out of your melee
Now,
range.
retreating is a random roll, right? Or is it, no, retreating is...
no, retreating is just
your movement, and you're fast.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to retreat out of range.
Yeah.
Unless they have some real, 6-inch pylon shenanigans.
That's true.
Which they are slowly removing from this game.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Good.
But the ability to, again, like, you have some demonettes on a point, and they go like, bro, I'm going to kill them. And you're like, no,
No, you're not.
I'm just going to back out.
That's my favorite of this.
That one's really good.
The last one is Born of Damnation. Casting value 6. Roll 6 dice. For each 4-up, 1 depravity point. So you get 3 depravity points.
Yeah, boring, but...
If you've got an extra spellcaster or someone with an extra spell, it's not bad to have in your pocket.
True. Like I said, there's a bunch of spellcasters in the book.
Yeah.
Of all of the characters, there's like 3 that aren't spellcasters.
So last, but certainly not least, is the Godseekers.
Yes.
These are the folks who are looking for Slaanesh.
Yeah, they're trying to find Slaanesh. Slaanesh has been gone, and the other ones are trying to take over, but
waiting
they're
for
looking
Slaanesh.
Yeah. Firstly, this one I think is also very good. Of the 3, I think this one and Pretenders are the 2 strongest. That being that there's only 3. Thundering Cavalcade. You can reroll charge rolls for friendly Godseekers units while they're wholly within 12 inches of a friendly Godseekers hero. So all of your heroes get to reroll all the charges all the time. And anything within 12 of them gets to reroll all the charges, which is great. It used to just be +1 charge, but I feel like rerolling charge
is better than +1, yes.
Yes.
I think it's +3 where it gets better to have a modifier.
Especially since there are some things in here, like the chariots in particular, which I'm assuming this is going for, that like do extra things on your charge rolls.
Yeah.
Again, we'll read that in a moment. Maniacal Hunters. At the start of each battle round, before the players receive their starting command points, you can move up to D3 friendly Godseekers units that are more than 3 inches away from enemy units, up to D6 inches. Roll separately for each unit. These units must finish their move more than 3 inches away from all enemy units.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Free movement is fantabulous.
Yep. Even though it is random, it does suck. You're going to move an average of 2 of them, an average of 3-4 inches. That's not nothing.
No, that's very, very good.
Yeah. Being able to get to an objective, getting to a key opponent. I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Onto the command traits. The Into the Fray. The strike first effect applies to the general if they made a charge in the same turn.
Not bad.
Yeah, sure. Again, a little bit of control-y where you charge 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
Go with the other one first, that kind of thing.
No, the general would have to go first.
Oh,
but
right.
then you get to go first because that's out of sequence.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
out
you
of
get
sequence.
to charge.
I'm thinking 40 can.
Yes.
After this, Speed Chaser. After this general makes a charge move, you can pick one enemy unit within 1 inch of this general and roll a number of dice equal to the charge roll made for the charge move. For each 4-up, that enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So average of 3-4 mortal wounds, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, rerolling your charges, you can more likely get a higher roll. There's some other things in here. There's one that is you roll 3d6 for a charge.
Yes.
So
we'll get there.
Yeah, being able to do that makes more mortal wounds equals good.
More and more mortals. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Wrong book. Wrong chaos book. Last one is Hunter Supreme. Only monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Enemy units within 3 inches of this general cannot make pile-in moves if this general made a charge move in the same turn. In addition, add 1 to attacks characteristic of this general's melee weapons if they made a charge move in the same turn.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yep. Can't make pile-ins.
Stopping pile-ins is one of the most powerful things in Age of Sigmar.
Slaanesh used to have that as just as a rule that the whole army got, but it was like on a 5-up, the enemy couldn't pile in, and if it was a monster, it was on a 3-up or something.
Yeah, it made it a slot machine army. It was not fun to fight. That was back when they were so powerful that they're still paying for it.
Yeah, well, the last book also had something like that.
Okay.
So I'm glad that it's keeping it, and it's also not random.
Right. So that's like you charge in with your hero monster, because it's just a hero, and actually your general.
Mm-hmm.
And you tag the edge of a unit. When you hit it, because of the way damage works in Age of Sigmar, it's going to go through that whole unit. But then they can't pile into you.
Yeah, they get 2, maybe 3 guys on you.
Depends entirely on what you're fighting.
Yeah. If they got spears or something, they might get some attacks, but man, they're not going to kill a keeper.
Nope.
Yeah, that one's really strong. On to the Artifacts of Power. Cameo of the Dark Prince. Once per battle, at the start of your hero phase, you can say the bearer will gaze upon the cameo. If you do so, until the end of that turn, the bearer can issue commands to friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units without any command points being spent.
Great.
That one's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Once per game.
And just lasts the whole dang turn.
Yep. All the freaking command points all you want.
All attack, all defense, unleash hell, rally.
Yeah. That one should have been in Pretenders, but it might have been a little too good.
Yeah, they've got enough. They've got enough going for them. It's okay.
But yeah, just do everything all you want from your artifact bearer. That one you probably do want to put on your general because of the extra range on your commands.
Yes. Or some other kind of totem.
True. There are a few totems in here. I have no idea how to pronounce this. Threnody? Threnody. Voice box. Once per battle at the start of the combat phase, you can say the bearer will play their melody. If you do so until the end of that phase, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic of melee weapons used by units within 6 inches of the bearer to a minimum of 1.
Again,
-1 attack is fantastic. It's once per game, but it's not like on a random roll. Right. It just happens, and it's everything within 6. So you can affect combats that you're not in.
Throw everybody, if you get lucky. Yeah, throw them into a combat, and just everybody involved gets a -1 attack.
Yep. The last one is the Girdle of the Realm Racer. The bearer can fly. In addition, the bearer is eligible to fight into combat if they're within 6 inches of enemy units instead of 3. They can move an extra 3 when they pile in.
So you can move anywhere because you can fly, and you can pile in 6 inches.
Yep.
Great mobility tool.
Yep. Which is good because I don't think any characters in here have fly. Maybe the Epitome does.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Spell Ores, Paths of the Dark Prince. Paths of the Dark Prince is a spell, casting value of 5. Successfully cast, roll 3d6 instead of 2d6 when making a charge for the caster until your next hero phase. Oh, yeah, that one's good.
Combined with?
Yeah, combined with the Speed Chaser to get mortal wounds on the charge, combined with some of the chariots that have extra stuff on the charge. Oh, that one's so good. You take that one.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. Also, Godseekers take chariots, the Seeker Chariot, as battle line.
Yes. So more chariots.
Yeah, chariots everywhere all the time. Progeny of Damnation. Casting value of 5, range 12. Successfully cast, pick a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit wholly within range and visible to the caster. Until your next hero phase, if that unit finishes a normal move, run or retreat within 9 inches of any enemy units, those units cannot receive the redeploy command. That one's kind of niche.
It is, but no running away from me.
Yeah, which is, good for Slaanesh. I want to be in melee, and if you don't want to be in melee, I'm going to make you do it anyway. So that one's not terrible. Slothful Stupor. This one I think is very good. Casting value of 7, range of 12. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. Until your next hero phase, the move characteristic of that unit is 3. And all run and charge rolls for that unit are being treated as 3.
Ow.
Yeah.
Like, that hurts.
Yeah. Like, it's a range of 12. You literally can't charge the thing that cast it. That's really good.
And there's a world where you camp a caster by something that they want to charge, and they just never get to charge anymore.
Yep. Again,
I guess they would inch towards you 3 inches, and you just kind of like back up 3 inches.
Assuming you get the casting value of 7 off, it's not guaranteed.
No, but it's statistical.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure the Epitome has reroll casting. So that's something you put on that, and it's just a control piece. Just stands there and goes like, that's not moving. That does another thing. Done. Yeah. That's really strong.
That can really ruin someone's day.
That is all of the subfactions. I think they're all fantastic. They all have their own little niche that makes them very cool.
Yes, none of these are duds.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
I still think it's Pretenders. So Pretenders was my subfaction in the previous book, just because I liked the little stuff that they had. But I think the command point farm is just
Pretenders is also my favorite. The ability to mess with command points. And they lean into the control factor of Slaanesh, which is how I like Slaanesh being played.
That's true.
So, yeah, Pretender's my favorite.
Awesome. But I could see the other two being very good as well.
Moving on to